Now, talking about these numbers and some lists that are there. So fun things that we can do in Excel. Let's say if I wanted to create a list of 1 to 10 in the column K. So one way of doing it would be I can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and continue and make the list till 10. But as you can see, that takes a lot of time. So what we are going to do in Excel is teach Excel a bit of pattern. And once Excel understands the pattern, it can help us to populate the rest of the cells. So how do we do it? Let's say if I'm putting 1, 2, only 2 things I need to create a pattern. Once that is done, I'm going to hold on my mouse, select the 2 cells. Once I know the 2 cells have been selected, we go to the right bottom and then we can stretch. And like you see, when I'm stretching, can you see the numbers? It is not copying 1, 2, 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 all over, but it is incrementing the values by 1. And why did it increment the value by 1? Because that is the pattern I showed. If I would have done 1, 3, now what is the pattern in this case? What do you think would be the next number I populate? Not 6, 5. 5, right? 1 and plus 2, 3 plus 2, 5, and it will go on. So Excel is pretty smart in this respect that it can understand what is the pattern of the data. And when you're trying to autofill the rest of the cells through the mechanism of dragging, it can create the list for ourselves. It could be odd numbers, it could be, any 10, 20, 30, any kind of interval that you have. It smartly understands that interval and creates automatically a list for us. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the basic alignment that we were talking about, the natural alignments that we spoke about, left, right, and center, that's there. But a lot of time it may be that I have a table, right? And everything is mixed in this table. If you see in column A, everything is right aligned. However, my title is left aligned. In column B, everything is left. In C, it's left and right. So does it look nice? All messed up, left, right, there's no pattern. Is it looking nice? No, it's not looking nice. So how do we change the alignment of a basic Excel table that we have? Or when you're entering the data, how to make sure it looks proper for the reporting purpose? So what we can do is we can select the entire row. Does anybody remember the shortcut for selecting the entire row in one go? How do you select the entire row? What is the shortcut? Control Shift and the right arrow key. So select entire row of table. It is Control plus Shift plus right arrow. Okay. And if I have to select the entire column of a table, then it is Control Shift and a down arrow. Okay. So let's say if I selected this entire, and then where is the alignment part? So if you go back to the home ribbon, we already work on the font. Next to the font is alignment. So there are 2 types of alignments that you will see. There is one which is vertical alignment, in the sense you want to push the or you want to align the text to the top, in the middle of a cell, or at the bottom of the cell. Now, probably at this point, we are not able to see that vertical alignment because the size of the row is very less. But if we increase the size of the row, it's 16, but I make it, let's say 30. Now you see, it is all at the bottom. Okay. So if I wanted to change the alignment, right, we can select, and over here, this is the how you're going to align vertically. So if I want to make it in the middle, I can do that. And the 3 at the bottom are how you're going to align it horizontally. So do you want to do a left alignment? Do you want to do a center alignment? However we want it. Okay, so let's make everything center aligned, and center in terms of vertically, center in terms of horizontal also. So what I can do, I can select the rows in the column and click on both the things, and automatically my table now looks much better because of the center alignment. Clear? Okay, so this part is done. Now, let's move on to the next one, which is our number formats. So what's the role of number format? It helps us to do some basic formatting. And why do you think we need this formatting? Why do you think we need all these number formats? What is the reason why we should do a number formatting on our data? Each reporting can be different, all right. What else? What about the user experience? Where the person who's reading the data, who's reading the report, if it's a very badly formatted report, or if it's not properly, even the number formatting is not done properly, do you think it will be easy to read? Probably not, right? So in order to make it a better looking report that everybody is able to understand properly, we should do number formatting. It's more presentable when you're doing a number format. So in number formatting, what do we have? Let's start with the bottom and then we'll move up. So we have decimal. If I want to increase the decimal, decrease the decimal. So when I pick up the column and I click here, I'm decreasing the decimal numbers. So it's not that when you decrease the decimal number, you're changing the value in the cell. That's not there. It's still the same number that you left. And how do we know? If I click on any one cell, on the top you see 16884.924. Even though this cell does not show that value, but that's exactly the value that it's holding in the cell. But for the presentation point of view, we are reducing the number of decimal spaces that are there, the numbers after the decimal. And what we can do is, if I want to increase, we can also increase it. So a lot of time when we're doing calculations specifically, it may end up that few of the numbers don't have decimals. Some has 1, some have 3, some have 2, and that uniformity is also not there. So that time I would definitely request that whatever numbers we are presenting, whether it's charges or it's like percentage contribution, if it's profit, whatever we are presenting as one particular column, we should always try to have a fixed number of decimal places in it. Whether you decide I don't want to show decimals, or you decide yes, I'll have 1 or 2, which makes sense to put it over here. So that's the role of these two buttons over here. Okay. Now, since it's a charges means it's a monetary thing, it's a money matter. So we can also put a dollar symbol on top of it. So from where do I put? I can click on the drop down. These are giving me the various currency symbol options that we have. And let's say if I want to put in English United States, automatically the dollar symbol has put in front of all the numbers. And the comma has also come, so we can read it as 1725.55. What about these hashes over here? I think we discussed last time. What do we do with the hashes? What do we do with the hashes? Double click, expand the cells, correct. So I have to autofill. Remember the term we used? Autofilling. So we double click and we expand it and we will be able to see the numbers well again, right? Same in BMI. We should make sure that all of that as one single digit. So I'll just remove all and just put 1 to make sure one single digit is there. So this is your number formatting. Now let's say, so for example, let's say the 2 columns that you had created, okay, and if I do a simple division of this divided by this, K1 divided by L1, press enter, I get 1, and then I drag it and I copy paste for all. Okay, this is understandable, right? Remember, we have created a column of 1 to 10, and then we created a column of 1, 3, 5, 7 all the way to 19. And what I'm asking you to do is just divide the 2 numbers of K1 divided by L1, and then we are going to drag it so that we get over here, we are going to get 6 divided by 11. Over here, I'm going to get 9 divided by 17. Now, if I wanted to convert these decimals into a percentage, I wanted to show one as a percentage of the other, then the easiest way to do is what? If I want to convert this into a percentage, what should I do to this formula? What should I do to the formula? Should I multiply by 100? What do you think? When you're multiplying by 100, right? Let's say you multiplied by 100 and you did this. Okay. Then who knows this is 66% or 57% or 55%? Is it visible to the end user or the person who's reading your report that this is 57%, or is it 100%? Is it understood? No. So what do we have to do? We make nice long headings on our tables to make the person understand this is in percentage. So we'll say something like contribution, and then we'll go ahead and put brackets and say it is in percentage. So a person has to be, a person should have read on the top, this is percentage, to be able to read this data correctly. So what's a better way of doing it? Let's not multiply by 100 because it actually doesn't help me. And what we will do, we will use the symbol over here of percentage. And once you click on it, now this is better. Because now not only it converted into a proper percentage, but it put a symbol of percentage, which now anybody who is not even read on the top understand this is a percentage value that I'm looking at. So again, how formatting really helps the end user to look at the data better, or the reporting becomes more presentable. Clear? So we spoke about the decimals, we spoke about the currency, we spoke about the percentage, something that is used very extensively. And like you can see, there are shortcuts for these things. So for percentages, Control Shift percentage. Honestly, you don't have to remember any of this, because all you have to do, if I have to put a dollar, if I have to put a percentage symbol on something, or put a dollar symbol or something, I typically like to use my Alt key. So once I press Alt, all the alphabets on the top are there. So if I want to go to home, what do I press? I press H. So as soon as I press H, I'm inside the ribbon of home. Now, do you see AN is there for the currency? So if I press AN, it shows me the available one, and I can browse through it and I can put it over here. Now, if I wanted to reduce the decimal also, kind of doing the same thing, Alt H. For increasing or decreasing, it's 0 or 9. So if I press 9, I've reduced it. So I like to use Alt, try to remember less and less of the formats. And once you get a habit of doing one thing over and over again, then you will see it becomes faster. Underneath these groups that you see, there's a ribbon, then there are groups. This is a font group, this is an alignment group, this is a number group. And then you will see these are small arrows at the bottom, and these are called dialog launchers. The terminology is not very important, but you should know if you click on it, what happens. So once you click on it, this opens up. So you will see this is very similar to what you're looking at over here. This is the number alignment that you saw this side, right? Okay. So number alignment is this part. Alignment is this part that we saw right now. Font, again, we have already seen the font, right? And the font is over here. Then we have the border, which is over here. Then we have fill, which is over here. So pretty much everything that we were covering one by one is present in the entire dialog launcher. So you can either choose to go over here and do one by changes, or you can open this format cell dialog launcher and then work on the number also, alignment also, font also, border also, fill also, all together. So it's entirely up to you. But what you see over here on the top is what you will get over here. So there is number formatting. In number, what you can decide that how many decimal spaces I need to give. You can decide whether you want to put a separator between the numbers of 1,000. You can decide how a negative number will appear. Will it be black with negative? Would it be red color to showcase it's a negative number? Or is it going to be black with looks exactly, these are two exactly the same, or it should be red with negative, right? So these are the options. When you go to currency, again, it's going to ask you how many decimal spaces you need. It'll ask you which is the symbol that you want to put. And then you go to accounting. Accounting is yet the same thing. However, the difference between currency and accounting is So if I put a number, same number, this is number formatting. And over here, if I go and I click on currency, this is my currency formatting. And if I go over here, click on the drop down and accounting, this is the accounting formatting. What's the difference between currency and accounting? It puts a currency symbol on the left for accounting, extreme left. So what currency does, it will always put the currency symbol next to the numbers. And what does accounting does? It puts on the left side and the numbers on the right side. So if you talk to any consultant who's into finance and accounting kind of a job, you will see they always want their symbols on one side and the numbers on another side, because when they are looking at the numbers, they would like to see them in the right units, like ones is below the ones, tens is below the tens. So for example, if I have even this number and I'm going to give variety, and I also go ahead and make them accounting, so this is easier to read. Versus if I would have put this and I'm going to pick the same numbers, paste and change this to a currency. So what happens is your symbols of your currency are also coming right below the numbers. So that can become very confusing to look at when, especially when you're doing the, when you're typically working only with the accounting, payrolls kind of a thing. That's the time accounting and currency does make a difference. Is it clear to everyone? So in accounting, what happens? It sticks the number to the right side, it sticks the currency to the left side. And why does it happen? So that all the numbers are placed properly. It's easier to read the numbers. And in currency, it puts right next to your numbers. All right. Great. So going back over here, so there's number, there's currency, there's accounting, then we have date. And again, these are the various formats in which we can put the date. Now, another thing which is of importance to understand when it comes to date, let's say I have my dates, like in India, we put dates like the day, month, and year. And let's say all the dates that I've put is in this fashion. But now I'm sending a report to, let's say, Janet, and I have to make it look like MMDDYY. Okay, so I can go to the date formatting and I can, go over here, make it English US. And now you see it has started giving me in the different format. So I can click over here and click OK and change my format. So it's 129, 130, 131. So I can change the format for the look part. Okay. But at the end of the day, what is there in the cell? In the end of the day, the cell still has 29.1. So you have to be careful. Okay. Have I formatted for just the part of reporting to send to someone so that it's easier for him to understand the date? Or did you actually write the date in the other format? Okay. So since I write my dates as DDMMYY, but if I want to send a report to you, if I'm taking a screenshot or I'm printing this report for you, then it makes more sense for me to format my date as the US style of MMDDYY and then do the work. So essentially, I'm not disturbing my format of my system, but at the same time, the look and feel is a different format. Is this part clear? Because a lot of people make mistaken dates in this format that they think, oh, this is MMDDYY, but when you start typing it like that, then we will have problems. So if I write 2/24/2022, it converted into a text, and then you're wondering why it converted into a text, because on the top you can see MMDDYY. The reason it's text is the default format has still not changed of a date. It is still DDMMYY for my system, but this is only for formatting that I changed the look of it. And then what do we have? Then we have dates. Similarly, we have times. So you can show it as 12 hour. You can show it as a 24-hour clock. And you can again pick and choose the format that a typically country would have. Then we have percentage. How many decimals do you want? Fractions. So if I want to show something as a fraction, in Excel, you can't show it, right? Unless we format it. Because as soon as I do, let's say 1 divided by 2, it converts to 1 feb. Why did it convert to 1 feb? It's because slashes are normally put for dates. And I didn't put a year. So which year is it taking into account? Which year did it take into account? Current year. Exactly. Current year it will take. So you see it is 1 to 2022. So I don't want 1 by 2 to convert into a year. So what I can do is I can format myself and say this is going to be a fraction. And then now if I put 1 by 2, it remains 1 by 2. If I put 3 by 4, it remains 3 by 4. It will not convert it into a date anymore. Okay.